of Media Studies, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar, Haryana. And over to you, Umeshji. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much to the entire team of Christ University for letting us do this.
Yeah. Thanks, Ubis, for such a nice introduction, and let me pay my gratitude to Christ University for providing me this opportunity to address the galaxy of the people and my mentors at GNI who have imparted me with this skill. So I hope the screen is visible. Huh? Yeah. So the screen is visible, right?
Yes, visible. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the agenda today. We'll learn what is misinformation and what are the different types of misinformation, what are the various formats of misinformation, and then we'll have a practical session, hands-off training session to verify the authenticity and accuracy of the text, videos, and the images, right? And in the last, there will be a chance to become a Factshala trainer. So the menu is good, yeah. So we start with the fake news. This is the most relevant social media news term these days, and fake news. So it is false stories that masquerade as bona fide news stories. The information is false, but it appears as the true one, right? But not many researchers agree to this idea because they say that fake news is a very small part of the problem that we are addressing to. In fact, we are facing the challenge of a much bigger problem. So they have, slightly disagreed with this idea of fake news, and they have, devised this misinformation ecosystem as the new term, right? And it will include the misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. We will see each one of them in detail. So coming on to the misinformation, here the information is passed on unintentionally. I mean, if you get a WhatsApp message and you pass on to other people and there is no bad intention on your part, that is misinformation, right? And in disinformation, it is an intentional act, right? The political parties, they are accused of running the disinformation campaigns during the elections, and this one is quite rare, but yeah, it's more important. This is malinformation, right? When a genuine information is used to harm the religious groups or the socially weaker section or the disadvantageous group, right? So I'm clicking one link here, and you will see an image here, and these are the images you will be getting on the WhatsApp and Facebook, right? Prima facie, on the face of it, this image looks fake, right? Because it shows great saints sitting before a person like me, right? And so this can be a fake news, but let me tell you, this is a genuine news that we were invited by the Jain Samaj people in Hisar to teach them the breathing and meditation technique, right? But apart from this, if this information, genuine information, is used in some other context and spread over the internet by some unscrupulous element, then it will be the malinformation, right? So
excuse me, sir, we can't see the picture.
You can't see the picture? Oh,
no, yeah, you have to share the picture also.
Yeah. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Yeah. Now it is okay. Yeah. Now it is okay, I think. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
So, as I explained that we were invited by the Jain Samaj to teach them the breathing and meditation techniques, and this is a genuine image, but prima facie this image seems fake, right? But if somebody broadcasts this image with some different context, then it will be a malinformation. So coming back to our presentation, yeah, I think screen is visible now.
No, sir.
No,
No, sir.
okay. I have to shift
No,
the
sir.
GSN.
You again have to share the previous screen.
Okay, right. I got you. Yeah. Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
So let's move forward. And how does this misinformation network work? You have a devious idea in your mind and it is circulated online, which causes panic and the anxiety among the people. And they, out of the anxiety and fear, they act on that information, right? And the damage to the society is done, and that damage is sometimes irreversible, as we have seen in the case of mob lynching incidents, right? So very quickly, coming on to the different types of mis and disinformation. The first one is the satire or the parody. no intention of harming anybody, like so sorry on Aaj Tak, right? And second is the misleading content, where the content is okay, but it is the information used in a misleading way to frame somebody. Imposter content, genuine sources are there, but they are impersonated on a fake news, right? Fabricated content is 100% fake, not even a speck of truth is there. Then false connection is there when headlines and visuals or captions and the underlying news text, they don't agree with themselves and they speak different languages. So false context is when the information is genuine, but it is presented in some other context. And the last one is manipulated content, when the whole content is manipulated to deceive somebody. So these were quick 7 types, and we will discuss one by one. So now see, this is Limes of India instead of Times of India, right? And it's so very funny now. It's Times How rather than Times Now. So people don't go after these small, logo differences. They just believe that.
Yeah, Professor Ramesh, your audio is not heard.
Forward, then the situation will become more serious, because now it is false context. You can see that this picture was shared for the for denigrating the Valentine's Day, and these were called the Pulwama Shaheeds, but in fact it was the Dantewada massacre, in which 76 people, CRPF people, lost their life in Naxal attack in 2010. So here the information is right, but the context is wrong, right? Then is fabricated content. This is totally, the malicious content, right? Because it is 100% fake. Like this one, Burj Khalifa incident, where Rahul Gandhi's image was displayed on Burj Khalifa. So Congress people, they were very proud of that, but very soon the fact checkers were on the job, and they find out that it was the Viewgo Magic Effect and video editor application which created this effect. So this was a fabricated content. And the manipulated content, you must have seen this video, lot many people got it. Like Kejriwal was going for the election campaign, and it was shown that he's drunk now, and he was speaking something. So the fact checkers found that the video and the sound that were deliberately slowed down in order to give an impression that he is in a drunken state of mind. Then is misleading content. You read it carefully, that Pappu goes international. Even Gulf News knows Rahul Gandhi is called Pappu in India, right? This was not the context at all, right? You see the headline on the right side near my cursor, how Pappu level has changed Rahul. This was an interview given to Rahul Gandhi to the Gulf News, and wherein he admitted that Pappu level has educated him a lot, and he had shown the reality of life, and life is better for him now. So he doesn't get disturbed by this. So the content is okay, but it is presented in the misleading way. So let's come on to the reasons why people, create and share the misinformation in this. So first is the poor journalism. It may be an oversight, but it contributes to the misinformation. Then people have the fun part of it. For parody, they do it, and to prove something, or to punk somebody, they do it out of the passion. Somebody do it because they're in the psychological state of mind, and they have some partisanship and the profit motive also. And for political influence, to denigrate some other party, to criticize them unfairly, they do it. And in the last, for propaganda also, they will do it, right? What to do then? Verify, and verify. So we'll start with text verification, and quickly come on to the image and video verification. So this is the message now in front of you. You must have got this message on WhatsApp on 22nd March, 5 p.m. Yeah, after that, whole nation clapped for the Corona warriors, like doctors and other health workers. So we clapped our vessels in their appreciation. And then the message was viral, and it said that NASA's SD3 wave detector, it's a biosatellite which has detected the waves, vibrations in the atmosphere, which have helped the corona strain to diminish in the intensity. Now, this was such a fantastic news that even Amitabh Bachchan, tweeted it. Later on, he had to retract. That's another story. Let's see. This is a text message, and let me tell you, text message is very easy to verify. I have underlined this sentence. You identify any one of the group of words or a particular sentence and go to Google, right? And I'm quickly coming on to the browser part of it. I'm sharing it. Yeah. So what I have done is I have pasted that group of words here. I hope it is visible for you. And in the double quotes, I have searched. So the first one result, just see, fact check. NASA satellite did not show any coronavirus retreat. If you click this link, then people have already debunked this news. And it is none other than Outlook India. OutlookIndia.com. It's very respectable, very reputed magazine. So your question is answered now. This is a fake news. It is not the fact, right? So moving on to the, just a minute. Excuse me. Stopping this share and quickly coming on to the okay. So I have to start from the beginning, I think. Yeah. So how to verify images? For that, we will apply the reverse image technology. You can tell while doing this reverse image that image is old. If it appeared earlier on the web, you can tell the context in which it was used, and you can still have to work out the source for which infinite patience may be required. So let's again go to the stop share function, and I'll do it practically for you so that you can get more practical information. Okay, if somebody sends you an image and claims that image to be something, now it's upon to you, how you debunk that, right? So there are two ways. You go to the Google Images and click this camera. If the image is on the desktop, then upload that image on your desktop. For example, if somebody sends me an image and tells me that this is the image from the Christ University conference. So I have uploaded that image in the Google Images, and this is the image, and these are the similar images, but quickly come down to the first result, right? It says that this image is from Guru Jambheshwar University of Science and Technology. That's my university, right? And I'll click this image, and now it will be clear, yes. So this is not from the Christ University, but from Guru Jambheshwar University. This is one. So I'll close this now. Yeah. So another method is when you want to don't want to upload the image from your computer because that image may be present already on the website. So for that, you have to install a Chrome extension, and the name is Search by Image. As you can see, I have installed on my Chrome browser. So once it is there on the browser, then if you click that image on the website, for example, if I open any website, in that case, it is my university's website, and okay, and I click on the right side of this, then see, search Google with this image, right? So this is only enabled when the Chrome extension is installed. And when you click this, then again, the same function is performed, which I just performed with the help of the Google desktop, computer desktop. Yeah, this is the image, and yeah, this is the first link. You click on the image, and yeah, this is from Guru Jambheshwar University. So this is another method. So I have discussed two methods, one from your computer, one from the website, right? So this is done, and we will now go to the next slide, and for that I must okay, right, I think this is already done, and okay, one more thing. The earlier extension, this one, search by image by Google, it will search only the Google website. But as you know that Google's database is also sometimes limited. It may not cover the entire globe because it doesn't operate in China. So we have to install another image here, extension here, that is RevEye reverse image search, right? So once you install it on the Chrome, then if you find some image on the internet and then you right click on your mouse, then the reverse image search option is there. And when you click all search engines, then it will perform the reverse image search for all these search engines, right? As performed by Google recently, right? So Yandex is very good as far as Europe and Russia is concerned. Baidu is very good in Chinese contexts, and Google search is very good in Asian context. So quickly you will search all these search engines together and all the websites will be open, and you have to quickly navigate to all of the websites and find the relevant stuff there. So I think the image part is done, and rest of the things you have to research yourself because tools can only give you a slight idea of the total picture, right? Okay, so now this is a small assignment. Italian man who lost his entire family to coronavirus finally commits suicide. This was a image circulated on the like, as you can see, scannews24.com, and people were crying also, RIP and all that. But is it true? Let's see. You just crop the relevant part of it and save the picture and upload it on the Google, right? And then you will come up with a few results, and I have shown you already shown the process, but now I'll show you the results very quickly, right? So the results is, when it is uploaded, then the first link says that man jumps to his death from top of Hotel Valencia, and the Valencia hotel is in Spain, not in Italy, right? And Corona started in Italy in February 2020, but this photo was uploaded on December 27th, 2019. It means this photo was present in the system on the internet before Corona spread in the Italy, right? So in all probability, this tweet and the photo, they are fake because the date difference is there. So it will nail this picture down, right? So this was the photo part of it, image part of it, and it's very easy. Let's verify a video now very quickly. For that, again, you need to install a Chrome extension that is known as InVid, right? Now, InVid is a plugin and it's very good web-based application, totally free, and it gives you enhanced metadata also. It retrieves the contextual information like location, keyframes, time frame, shares, likes, etc. So many things. And it has got the magnifier also, and we will do a practical exercise of InVid now, right? Again, I'm sharing the different screen now. I hope you are not getting bored, huh? You can raise your hands, huh? You can raise your hands like this, yeah. Okay, so let me go to the Chrome first, and I have already opened InVid for you. Like, this was already installed in my Chrome. So you click this and open InVid. In my case, it is already open. So you first go to this function, that is keyframes. You go to the YouTube, Facebook or Twitter and copy the video URL of the video which you want to verify and paste it here and just upload that. In case the video is received through WhatsApp, just download it on the desktop and upload it at this place. What it will do is that it will separate the video in different keyframes, right? And you find the most relevant and the most actionable keyframe, like in which the maximum objects and the things are visible. Click on the right side, and then again you can search with the Google image, or you can do a reverse image with all search engines, right? It will jump to the all the videos in which this kind of shots are there, and then you have to quickly navigate through all these videos and find the relevant video. So this is very good, excellent, free, and it is the best. It's a one-stop shop for the video verification. It has got some image verification also, a few tools. Like I have downloaded this image from the Christ University, and this tool is the magnifier I'm using. So I can use this magnifier. I can see where is the Father Biju's room, and I can just quickly glance into the room and see what he's doing, right? So this is just looking into the deep inside the picture. So as far as metadata is concerned, so I have taken again a different image, and once it is loaded into the InVid, then it will give the Nikon Corporation like make of the camera and model of the camera and software, and this is the most important one. It is the time at which the image was taken, right? Flash was on or flash was off, so many things. If the image was edited, then also it may show some relevant data here. So this is perfectly fine software, free for you, and very good support system. You can write to them, they will quickly respond to that. So I'm closing this now, and coming on to my different screen share, and this is our presentation. Okay, so by using InVid, we have debunked a few videos. Like, look at this video. This video says that this is in Iran. You still want to hit the streets unnecessarily? Make a choice, right? So it was broadcasted in the Corona context, like people are on the street and people are dying. Why do you want to hit the streets? But a close examination through InVid by splitting the frames and then doing the reverse image search bring us to a different conclusion. Like, this video relates to the 2019 incident of Hajj in Makkah, where 58 deaths they were reported. So this is the original video. You can click it and you can see it. So the verdict is, the video circulated as a funeral of coronavirus victim in Iran is fake. It is not genuine, right? So it's such an easy exercise, and I'm sharing a quick template with you, right? When you watch any video or photograph, just look for these clues. First, just look for the buildings inside the video or photo. Just see the topography, area, and reference them using the Google Maps. So you can find the location or geographical information. Then look for some insignia like flags, logo, emblems, badges, particular groups, religious groups, etc. So they will also nail the picture down. Then you see the comments on the social media, like on YouTube videos. There are so many comments underneath which will say something very good about the video, and you can get a hint there. And then see the number plate of the vehicles in the video, and you can get the registration number, and the things can be done from there also. Then you see the language and the clothing and the culture and the religious artifacts of the people, their behavior, their non-verbal communication, everything, so that you can have some cultural heritage cue also. Weather information can also give you some hint on that particular time. Then this is one of the most important, that is signage. Look for the signposts, banners, billboards, the phone numbers on the buildings, and phone numbers on the hoardings, and they can lead you to the physical address of the thing, right? This is a very, very good template for that, right? So 5 questions you should ask when you get a WhatsApp post. First one, is it forward? If it is forward, yes, then it has a high chance of being fake, because it is coming from so many places, and at every place people might have changed the message, and you believe that message to be true, right? Don't do it. So is it credible? Is it credible to you? If it's shocking, utterly shocking, then it cannot be credible. I mean, these are just the common assumptions, but it's very beneficial one. So is the information citing the credible sources in the text, or it is just saying that according to the sources, according to the doctors, according to people in China? No, that's not the credible information, right? Is the image or video genuine? I have told you now a few tools, then you can reverse image search and find yourself, and you will find that most of the images, they are doctored. They are not the genuine, right? Is the post hard to believe and you still want to believe? Because we are victims of the confirmation bias. This is a psychological concept in which we accept the information as per the own belief system of ours. If it tallies with that belief, then it's okay. Otherwise, we reject that. And fake news, fake news, they capitalizes on that weakness of yours, right? So once you receive a message and what's your response toward that message, it identifies what is the motive behind that message. The motive is, does it want you to buy something? Does it want you to like, share, or subscribe something because the monetization part is involved in that? Does it want you to fear somebody or hate someone? This is the most important in today's context. Or it is a shocking or funny kind of message, because people, they are in habit of standing just by the fun and entertainment kind of thing. So it's your response to that which decides the motive, right? And very quickly coming on to the 5 reasons that you should not believe all the information which you see and read. First one is, fake news has an agenda, that it wants to make you believe what they propagate. It is always designed to spread extreme emotions so that you can act immediately, and their purpose is served. It wants you to believe the things that fits with your thought. I just talked about the confirmation bias. So it relates to that. But the truth is anything but what is apparent in the content, right? Sender wants you to make the post viral because only then the purpose will be served. So these are all the 5 kind of thing. And for more help on the fact checking, and if you want to yourself, you become the fact checking ninja, you can go to the websites like Alt News, Health Analytics Asia, AFP Check, Boom Live. And if you are interested in Hindi, agar aap Hindi mein interested hain, you can go to the Vishwas News. These are the one. And now just a quick wrap up of the thing. Just should we talk about the Factshala, right? So these are the series of webcasts that Factshala is doing, and you can register here free of cost and get the training. And there is also chance that you become a trainer also. So I was thinking of sharing the link, but the link is very long. So I am sharing a very good method here so that you can right now register for it. Let me go to the browser now, and yes, just open Google and type Factshala registration, right? The simple words. These are the first 2 links, right? The second link is a Facebook announcement. If you click this, then it will open like this. Yeah, and click this, you will go to this registration form. Yeah, it is loading actually. Yeah, this one, and it is showing the different timings and the languages, and you can register yourself free of cost. And you will gain so many things, I tell you. And if you want to be the certified trainer of Factshala, then the link is the first one. You can go and express your interest there. So with
sorry,
this, I think
sorry to bother and budge in between, but Shivali, my colleague, has already posted the link to join the webcast, and
okay.
So she'll post it again. But thank you so much. Shivali has posted it again. But thank you, Umeshji. Thank you so much.
So just a minute. It's a very important slide. Huh? Please don't miss it. Yeah, just a minute. It's a very important slide, and it is. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am open to question now. Yes. Quickly
yes,
coming
Professor
on to
Umesh, we do have.
Stop sharing screen. Yeah.
All right, so Professor Umesh, we do have some questions from the participants. This is from Valeros Fernandez, and the question is, disinformation easily spreads when shared in common circles. Trust is a crucial factor. Why do you think social media tends to be more credible in this case among users than traditional media sources? Also, how do we increase critical inquiry to debunk disinformation? That is the question.
Yeah, there's a BBC survey which tells that most of us spread the information without bad intentions, right? Isn't it? And as I have just shared a few tools. These are sufficient tools. The thumb rule is that don't accept any information on the face value, right? So it's very easy. According to my personal estimate, 99.9% of the social media information, if it is shocking and if it out of the world, then it has to be fake. So apply your own common sense. I mean, I have shown the text part of it and image part of it, video. It's so easy. Just try these tools, right? Yeah.
Another question. How crucial do you think fact checking is in case of newsroom debates?
Yeah, it is highly recommended on the part of the moderator there to be aware of these kind of fallacies. And I have been listening to many news debates recently, and people they're the political people, and they spread anything, this say anything there, but it is their job, right? They are they are paid for this. But moderator should be a fact checker. That's why GNI, Google News Initiative India Training Network, is training many newsroom people regarding this, because they are the gatekeepers of the information there, right? They can easily debunk that there and then.
Also, there is another question, and this will be the last question. The question is, why in India this fact checking is not developing as parallel industry along with media industry?
Well, I differ slightly on this, because I have seen the fact checking industry developing like anything in India. I can show you many websites and independent websites, NGO websites, and media departments inside the media houses, which have started fact checking process.
Professor Umesh, your audio is not visible. We could not hear you. I think he's having some
problem. Okay, so I will just repeat one thing, that Professor Umesh Arya's fact checking link will be also posted on a Data Leads YouTube channel. That would have been in Hindi. Professor Umesh Arya has already done a wonderful session, a detailed session on how to check, debunk any kind of fake news. So Shivali will post the link here. That was done by Professor Arya, so you can refer to that one at any given point of time.
Yeah, you can. I am on the internet. My website is there, and Christ people also have my contact number. You write me an email. I'll definitely respond, right? And I'm sharing my phone number also. This is on WhatsApp, and you can immediately expect an answer within 5 minutes. Right. So, any other question?
Yes, we do have. There are a few more questions, but unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we're going to end with this. But there are, yes, indeed, a lot of questions which we can post it to you later.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm reading the chat box, and I can see that participants are really enjoying this session. There is a very good feedback. A lot of them are saying that it's very informative, it's not boring, and it's very practical. And also there are a few requests from the participants to get a PPT from you. So Professor, it's up to you if you would like to share the PPT with the participants.
Actually, this is a proprietary PPT from GNI, so I'm unable to share, but right. As Sudhiji just mentioned, that it will be available on the YouTube. You take the screenshots, right? They are equally good. Don't worry about that. Or just copy the information. It's where, slides are only, I think 40 slides are there. And you take the screenshots, they're equally good. Yeah.
All right, with that, we came to the end of our session. Thank you so much, Professor Umesh. That was indeed a very, very interesting session. We thank all the participants for joining us today. And I would also like to invite you to join us again tomorrow at the same time, where Professor K.G. Suresh, who is the Director General at the Indian Institute of Mass Communication, will be engaging us on a topic countering fake content during Corona. So see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.